Today we're going to talk about irrational joy. I don't really know if there's any other kind of joy, actually. Joy is almost always irrational. We'll get into it as we get into it. First, let's just take a moment. People are going to filter in as they filter in. Some people will watch this later. Take a moment just to acknowledge that cognizant or not, conscious or not, we're all here. Presence. Presence meaning in this moment. Presence meaning in this place. And presence meaning awareness and conscious. So, today we're going to talk about irrational joy. I don't know how many people saw the picture of the elephant that was the notice of this event, but it had like an elephant, like a little baby elephant, and the elephant was just spraying water randomly, and it has a big smile on its face. And really, a silly elephant doesn't know that it's endangered and people are hurting it and its species, and it's just such a dangerous place to be an elephant on planet Earth. And there's nothing rational about that elephant's joy. That elephant is just in joy. It's just in a state of joy. And why it's in a state of joy is just because it's in a state of joy. It's just a baby with water. You can see human babies with water. Joy, just joy. And there's no rhyme or reason, there's just joy. Joy is different from enjoy, the way it's used and the way we think about it. That's a very strange thing. I'm going to get rid of this guitar stand. There's a guitar stand there. So, to enjoy in our modern world, the way we think about enjoyment, it's things that last a very short time and that leave us further down. We enjoy drinking and eating and sexing and drugging and all these things that they give us temporary relief and then they leave us further down. Joy is not that kind of an experience, not that kind of an energy. Joy is a simple up beauty integration of happiness, loving happiness. And it's even though it's personally experienced, it's an impersonal thing. In moments of true joy, the self will largely or completely disappear from consciousness. There'll be just joy. So here we are thinking about joy in a world that's full of pain, misery, depression, sadness, fear, jealousy, anger, envy, and so forth. So why are we allowed to have joy if the world is so crazy and so painful? Well, that's the irrational aspect of it. And we're gonna explore this a bit more. First of all, in this world at the present moment, to not be flippant and not be quick about things and callous. There's tremendous, tremendous suffering. There's suffering of animals, there's suffering of people, there's suffering of plants, there's suffering of the earth, the water, the air, but certainly the humans and the animals, the plants and the earth, amazing suffering. And so are we allowed to be joyful in the face of this kind of suffering? Well, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. If we look at the whole situation, at the whole energetic totality of what's happening on planet Earth right now, there's all of these various feelings, experiences, thoughts, And it's not just the humans, it's also the animals, it's also the plants. The dog right there, the cat, the elephant that's spraying the water, the other elephant that's being shackled and has to carry tourists down its back. All of these vibrations, all of these experiences, all of these feelings and thoughts, they're all happening simultaneously. And so the overall vibration of the earth, the overall experience that we're swimming in, because we are connected to all of this thing in so much, that's what spirituality means. It's the invisible connection. It's the things that we don't sense with the five senses. And it's also the connection and the love that transcends the five senses and transcends the seeming separation and the actual separation on a physical Newtonian level. We are separate. But the spiritual perfection that we're seeking, the truth that we're seeking, that we're drawn to, that makes life worth living, and that we experience with our children, we experience with each other sometimes, and in nature, with animals. This energy is this feeling. It is joyful. It is joyful. And so in the overall, the earth, the atmosphere, there's the earth, and there's a thin layer like an onion skin of atmosphere around the earth. There's a totality of energy. So when we have this true joy, we're adding that vibration to the overall vibration, and we're raising the vibration of the earth. And believe it or not, this does have an effect on everybody and everything. It does. As does the pain, as pain and the suffering. It also has a direct effect on each and every one of us. Now, that's what empathy is about. Empathy is not, well, I mean, it can be whatever it is we define it to be, but the grandeur of empathy is not the suffering that we share with other people and other creatures. That's something that has a kind of a connected nobility to it. But the true nobility is to see the absolute grandeur of what it is that's behind, around, inside, transcending the suffering. The suffering being, it's not poor suffering being, it's magnificent suffering being. How do we alleviate the suffering to liberate the magnificence? Okay, so we're living in a world full of, I'm not going to go through the list, but through a lot of very difficult fear and pain. This is called fear and pain as the catch-all difficulties, and that includes all the list of other things. And so how do we experience joy when we're surrounded by suffering? Now, first we just explored a little bit that joy adds to the overall uplifting vibration of the planet. And it also, suffering, for example, right now, we can picture any situation where there's a being suffering right now. There's a being suffering. You can put that in your mind. It came to you already. There's a being suffering. Now, to suffer with this being, is that raising the vibration of the planet or helping that being? Now, some people are going to say, we need to feel that suffering because that's what motivates us to help that being. The people that need to feel that suffering are the people that aren't feeling it. If you're feeling it, you don't need to feel it anymore. Not that feeling it is wrong, but then the next thing is to not take it personally. Not even to take your own suffering personally. That's a very high goal, aspiration, and possibility. To not take your own suffering personally. Don't take suffering personally as much as possible, because to take it personally means to take it on and to suffer personally, which doesn't help the suffering, the sufferer, or the overall vibration, the overall energy of the planet, or of your family, or of the dog next to you, or of the plant behind me, or of the being here. So to not take these things personally, you won't lose motivation to help. Don't worry. The people that need to feel that suffering are the people that aren't feeling it. People that are lost in narcissism and self-centeredness. Those people might need to feel that pain to motivate them to understand that the other being is equally valuable. But that's not you, because you're already feeling it. So what we do is we acknowledge it, we ask for help, we do our best, And we try not to add to the pool of suffering by taking it personally. Now, it begins with the self. I, this idea of self, for example. I, the idea of self that's now absorbing, that's now the other part of this experience. Let me think of something that I suffered in the last 24 hours. It could just be a minor anxiety. It could be a fear, a terror. Now, this is something that happened to me. This is something that Does it help to take this and make it about me? In other words, I feel anxious. There's anxiety. And we've gone through this in other talks, 2 talks ago, processing. To look at it honestly, to surrender to it, to try and be grateful for it, because it's an experience of learning if we take it that way, and then to ask for help. But to not take myself personally. A friend just posted something on Facebook I saw earlier today or yesterday. It said, don't take your mind too seriously or something like that. And it's just brilliant because, what's going on in here, thoughts and feelings, is a whole pile of nonsense. Not to not honor it, acknowledge it. Of course, we honor it and we acknowledge it, and then we work with it because it is real to us. But let's be honest about the fact that we are this separated self is extremely small in the context of just 50 square miles, 100 square kilometers. Think about the continent, think about the planet, then step further out. Insignificance is not even close to what's happening here. We're completely insignificant. We take these little things, and even the large things, so unbelievably personally because it gives us a sense of identity and a sense of importance. Okay, not to say there is difficulty. There are things that are very difficult, absolutely. But to try and not take this too personally, especially the thoughts. The feelings are a little bit more, have to be taken a little bit, processed a little bit more. And then, certainly the traumas. Then to step one step out. Not to take others personally. This is like there's been a lot of talk in this kind of thinking, in this kind of movement, this kind of self-analysis, the attempt to self-realize and to transcend the small self about not taking things personally. But they always stop with taking this personally. It's like, don't take him personally, don't take her personally, don't take politics personally, don't take religion personally, don't take what they say personally, don't take what happens. Don't take yourself personally. That's the root. Because the self you're taking personally is being taken personally by there's a little self that thinks that this is everything, and it's taking everything that's happening here as so important, as so personal. It's just a maintenance of something that's causing suffering here. So now we're stepping out. We're talking about, it actually works. What's happening here that's preventing my joy? What's happening there that's preventing my joy? The elephant spurting water with just the baby elephant, with just nothing but that moment and the water and the beauty and the 3-year-old little girl and the 5-year-old little boy and just the joy, the dog running through the doesn't think about ticks, it's just running. Gets a tick, it's just running with joy. Not concerned with self or other, or seemingly other. Okay, so there's problems here, there's difficulties, there's pain and suffering and anger and all these things here. Then there's all the really relatively tremendous suffering out there. Now, when we look at suffering, why, for example, someone out there has something terrible happen to them, serious accident, or someone really mistreating them, or an animal. We don't know about it, it doesn't bother us. And then we find out about it, and it bothers us, but almost all the time, to be honest, it's about me being bothered. Not really about that. Not really about that. When someone dies, 95% of it is how it affects me. It's not that person. If they're suffering, it's how I feel. That's how how narcissistic our culture, how narcissistic we've been trained to be. We believe that my feeling something is so important. Oh, I'm a vegetarian and I'm saving the world. It's not about me. It's about maybe the animals or maybe the environment. But that's so secondary. It's about my self-image. It's about who I think I am. Oh, I'm someone who feels the pain so deeply. Well, stop it. Stop it. That's just the maintenance and the continuation and the holding on to a sense of self that's sensitive and empathic. Sensitive and empathic, it's not personal. You can feel it personally to some extent, but it's not about me. Then we've changed the whole frame of reference. The suffering is there. I don't know about it. Oh, I'm good. The suffering is there. Oh, I know about it. Oh, it hurts me so much. And then you tell your friends, I can't stand that. I just can't. And you start talking about yourself, about how you're feeling. Well, too much me, too much talking about me, too much thinking about me. That suffering is real. Let's do what we can about it. And then let's not take it on personally, because that's not helping. As we started talking about this, it's lowering the vibration to take it on personally. So all these things are happening, and now I know about it. That person's had something terrible happen to them. That animal's had something terrible happen to them. I don't know about it. Does that mean it's not happening? Of course it's happening. Of course it's happening. Why does my knowing about it prevent my joy? Not knowing about it allow my joy? What does that mean? Ignorance? Are we seeking ignorance? Not at all. We're seeking knowledge. We're seeking self-knowledge. We're seeking totality of knowledge. Knowledge is one of the facets of the diamond. Honest knowledge can bring us into the heart of the diamond, where we can be exposed to and where we can be part of all of these wonderful compassion, kindness, creativity, joy, beauty, truth, love, so forth. Knowledge. The truth. The truth is there's tremendous suffering. So knowing about it or not knowing about it, what is it? Why is it personal in one case but not personal in another case? Why is it personal if it's my brother and it's not my blood brother, right? My blood brother, my mother's other child. And it's not personal if it's someone else's child. Why is, it happened to me, it happened to my brother, my grandfather, my mother, my aunt, my dog. Your dog? Yeah. Oh, I feel for you. Yeah, then it's over. It's again, it's back to how we set the boundaries and the borders of self and family and us and them. If it's an all-inclusive thing, we're setting ourselves up for unbelievable joy, unbelievable beauty, unbelievable truth. Okay, so it's a matter of, we're talking about taking suffering personally, and it never helps to take suffering personally. My own suffering least of all. And that's a very high and magnificently noble goal, to not take my own suffering personally. Wow. Excuse me. If I can get to that, we're talking about liberation. That's the road to liberation. And not taking, it's easier to not take the further we get away from what I consider my personal sphere, me, my family, my country, my whatever, however I'm defining it, my religion, my politics, my us, and not the them. The further out we go, disturbing images, disturbing truths, disturbing realities. And so to be joyful in this world is to be a fool. Is to be a fool, right? Is to be a fool. How can you be joyful and aware? It's just joy, awareness. And again, we can be aware of the joy. We can stand in, as my friend was just talking to me, and with her wisdom, she said, we can be standing on the mountain and we can be looking at the scenery and see the great joy and the magnificence, and we can be standing on that same mountain and seeing the misery and the pain and the suffering, and it's the same scene. It's the seeing. However, no matter how we see it, the suffering is real and the joy is real. So how do we personally, because joy is, when you saw that picture of the elephant, okay, for example, if you saw the picture, or just think of any, like Think of a little kid, like 3 years old, and it's sunny out, and they've been inside because for whatever reason, and they go outside, and they just start running, or the dog just starts running, and they're just joyful. And think about how you feel when you see that. You see the elephant, that little baby elephant, it's just leaning back in the picture, and it's smiling, right? And it's just spraying water into the air, and it's joyful. And you look at it and you feel joy. Ah, you feel joy. Joy. Joy is something that has no downside. There's no down. It's not a dual thing. Enjoyment has duality. Enjoyment, suffering. Joy is not a dualistic thing. There's things that are seemingly the opposite of joy, but joy doesn't have you don't pay for joy. It doesn't bring with it the suffering, which enjoyment does. Enjoy rich food. Enjoy alcohol. Enjoy sex. All these things. Almost always. Unless you're doing it with an unbelievable consciousness and honoring, then it involves joy and in consciousness and awareness. It will bring with it the seeds of the suffering, and you will be depressed tomorrow, or later, or during, or after, or before, and you will seek more. Joy doesn't have that quality. That elephant is spraying things like that, and it might be miserable the next minute. It might not be able to get food, or someone might mistreat her, the mother might get mad at it, but that is not carried with the joyful energy. Enjoyment of most kinds in our world now, the way we enjoy things, it carries with it the exact opposite. With it carries with it the depression and the non-enjoyment, the pain. Joy is not like that. Joy is not dualistic that way. Joy is simply joy. It is just like this, and you feel it. I can feel in my heart right now, and you can too. In your heart, just this opening, because the elephant is just in that moment with joy. And so to be joyful is not a rational situation. And we're going to do a meditation in a little while that's going to help us to understand how joy is our natural state. Natural is a strange word. Joy is our birthright. We are here to learn to be joyful in the midst of great suffering, personal and impersonal. If we draw our person as everything, then all suffering is personal in the sense that we learn to not take it personally. If we draw our boundaries very small, the narcissist draws his or her boundaries right around his skin, her skin, and the only thing that matters is what happens here. But still taking it personally. So to not take it personally, to not take the suffering personally, when we strip away the layers of conditioning, of fear, worry, anxiety, and notice how all these things take us out of the present. We started talking about presence. 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 People are very into the now. We've come to a place where in this culture of self-seeking, seeking for self-realization and transcendence, we're very conscious that this moment now is everything. We're trying to be very conscious. And to the extent we're able to be conscious, it's largely the extent that we're successful. Presence is a much bigger thing, though, than just the time of now. There is no time of now. There is only the time of now. Meaning, presence is not just... Presence is also space. Presence is space. Presence is the space in which things happen. Now is here, and here can only happen now. And presence also means roll call. John, here. Mary, here. Alice, here. Joanne, here. Mark, here. Presence, here. Aware. I am here, meaning not just in body, not just I'm here and it's now. I'm here, I'm now, and I'm also conscious, aware of being here and now. Presence. So stripping away the past, stripping away the future, none of which really exists. It exists to some extent. Well, it exists to the extent that we allow it to, and to the extent that we haven't processed, especially past traumas. To the extent that we haven't processed these things, they are with us. But to strip away time, strip away place, strip away unconsciousness, which is just the layers and layers and layers of false conditioning, to strip away this sense of self and taking things personally, when it's all stripped away, we'll do a meditation. Rationality is a condition. We are conditioned to be rational, and we worship rationality. Now, it depends how we draw rationality. Mental rationality is sickness without the rationality of love, which is irrational. It's irrational. Or it's in conflict with what we've learned to think of rationality. In the world we live in, rationality is about how do I take care of myself? How do I compete with others? How do I compare with others? What do I think other people are thinking about me? And so forth. This is how we are learned, what we've learned. Okay, this is the conditioning of rationality. It's rational. This economic system is based on the rationality of greed, of self-centeredness, meaning if everybody competes, we will raise the vibration. It doesn't raise the vibration at all. It actually is a very low vibration. What it does is it creates a lot of consumer goods. We have the most amazing production of stuff in history. I mean, I am living better than the Sultan of Brunei, than Alexander the Great, than Genghis Khan. I'm living better than all of them. I have central heat. I have this thing that I get in, and it floats me above the ground about 2 feet, about a meter off the ground, half a meter off the ground, at 60, 90 kilometers an hour, 60 miles. I have food from around the world. I mean, the unbelievable luxury created by this ethic, the material well-being, and material well-being is important. No one's denying that. But the actual vibration of competition and comparison is a very low vibration. It's a very low vibration. It's what buffaloes do. Not that buffaloes are low, but buffaloes go like this. They bang their heads against each other because they're trying to get a mate. That's where we're at in terms of, so this is the conditioning. This is what we think is rational. We think that it's rational to be in this state of competition, anxiety, fear, constant insecurity. It's rational to be insecure. Rational to be insecure. Wow. Ask any grounded, small culture. That hasn't been infiltrated by this. I mean, their insecurities just doesn't exist. People know their place. They have a place, and they have a sense of belonging, connection relative to their community and relative to the earth and the animals and whatever it is. We have none of that. We have none of that. We create small little groups of churches and groups and sports teams and political organizations and whatever it is we do, workplaces and families, and so fragmented, so lonely, so alienated, so insecure. And this is how we live rationally. This is what we think is rational. It's absolutely irrational. Now, the rationality of the heart says that we are all one, and love and empathy and compassion and beauty. That's a different kind of rationality. But that's also the rationality of joy, which says that no matter what may be happening, we have the right, the birthright, the heritage, and the duty to find joy and be joyful. Obviously, it's not appropriate all the time. Maybe it is appropriate all the time. Perhaps to function in a great state of joy, even amidst the darkest and most difficult of pain and misery. Perhaps, I wouldn't even say perhaps, I'd say that's, what higher goal could there be? To bring joy into the darkest places, to function, to live with joy, even in spite of the unbelievable suffering, and to bring that into the suffering, both as inspiration and just, you saw the elephant, you've seen the child running, you've seen just the unbelievable expenditure of joyful energy, it's just irrational. It's just irrational. It can happen in any number of situations. But when we strip away these layers of conditioning and these layers of ideas and these layers of mental rationality. Now, mental rationality without the heart is what's destroying the planet. It's what's making each and every one of us lonely because we've been conditioned by this. Each and every one of us fearful. Each and every one of us comparative and competitive instead of cooperative. And someone else is better at something. I play that guitar. There are probably I'm here in a big city. There's probably, I don't know, conservatively 20,000 people that play it better than I do in this city. Wow, that's really cool, man. Maybe I can, hang out with them and we can play music together. Why am I threatened? Why would I be threatened by their beauty, by their, that's nuts. That's nuts. That competitive thing, that comparative thing. So we strip away these layers of thing and we get back to that original beauty that we brought into this world that we can see in the children who just irrationally and for no reason express, embody, and are joyful. Not all the time, but a lot. And as adults now, we're adults. So the thing about being an adult is there's only one thing about being an adult: responsibility. There's only one thing about being an adult: responsibility. Responsibility is freedom. Freedom, as it's defined in this weird rationality that we're living in, is freedom from responsibility. I just want to be free. I want to be able to lie on the beach and have someone bring me stuff and just rub my feet and have nothing to do and not have to clean the house or go to work or, whatever. That's not freedom. That's enjoyment. There can be joy there too, depending on consciousness. But responsibility, the ability to respond, is freedom. We're going to talk about that in the future because responsibility is one of the facets of the diamond. You can get to the heart of the diamond through responsibility. Responsibility is huge. We're here to learn. Responsibility is also independence. Doesn't mean that I'm growing all my own food, that I'm getting all my own electricity. It's not complete independence like that. Well, that's a wonderful dream, a wonderful goal. But independence meaning not taking oneself or other things personally. Independence from circumstance. Wow. To be independent of circumstances. Circumstances are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 7 of them, 3 of them are extremely difficult. 2 of them are challenging and 2 of them we like. Independent of circumstances means I am still with joy. I am still with the ability to respond properly, no matter what's happening around me. That's responsive. That's wow. That's maturity. Maturity has nothing to do with age. Maturity is about doing the work to clean out, to strip these veils away so that we can actually be in joy, responsible, mature. These are almost all synonyms, different facets. Remember, the facets of the diamond, you go in through responsibility, you eventually end up with maturity. You eventually end up with compassion, with love, with joy. These things all meet at the heart. You can go in through the heart, through the love, and you'll get there, and you'll have the responsibility. Once you get to the heart of the diamond through any of the facets, or through 3 or 4 of the facets, or through 8 or 10 of the facets, you will get to the place where these qualities join together. The diamond heart, the heart of the diamond, the softness, the beautiful, all those qualities we're seeking, no matter what it is we think we're doing, no matter how destructive the other direction we're going. This is where we're really motivated to go. This is where we want to go. So responsibility, to be responsible for this, for what it is that's happening. Now I can be able to respond, but it doesn't mean that I'm in control of things outside. But in here, there's a level of control. It's a kingdom or a queendom that we're living in. And our first and foremost job is to clean this place of past conditionings, fears, traumas, worries, anxieties for the future, the glory days of the past, the glory days hope for the future, to bring it all into presence, place, time, and awareness. Now, here, aware. To bring those things here and to be in a clean state of ability to respond properly. And in that place, there will be joy. And it seems irrational because there will be suffering. And there might even be suffering here, but we process suffering impersonally as much as possible. When we get to that state, to the higher states, there is an experience of joy in the middle of the most painful moments. I promise you that because it's been experienced. And that's the goal, is to have that just be the dominant and the only experience, the joy no matter how difficult things are. So stripping away of all of these things that we've been talking about to reveal the innermost, the essential joy of being, which is so obvious to children, so obvious to that baby elephant. So if there's not, and as adults, again, the beautiful thing about being an adult is the ability to respond, which means a child will not be joyful when things aren't right. The kid's got a pin sticking in her from the diaper. The kid's trike, his wheel breaks on his trike, and he wants to ride the trike. They're children. They won't be joyful in that. They won't be joyful in that moment, especially given the way the adults act about it, right? Because we're not teaching them joy through in the midst of things not being right. It says, oh, you're only supposed to be good when things are good. Don't make things good. Make yourself good. Things will take care of themselves, and they won't always be good. That's just the way it is. Welcome to school. Welcome to Planet School. Okay, so as an adult, what we're doing is we're learning to strip things away and yet keep the awareness of adulthood and the ability to respond of adulthood so that we can transcend circumstances. And when the diaper's sticking, and the pin sticking in me, which in my case as an adult is I get a flat tire. I have a car. I have a freaking car. I have a car. All of you probably have cars too. Do you know what that means? Like, let's just appreciate some stuff here. My God, a car. I get a flat tire. Oh, poor me, my car has a flat tire. The Emperor of Rome would have buried 400,000 slaves to get a car. One car. A thing that moves by itself like that, 60 miles an hour over the desert. Holy smokes. That's an intense thing. That's a car. It's a chariot without any kind of horses. Yeah. Take it for granted, right? Okay. So to be an adult, the pin's sticking in me. I might get a flat tire. Why does that rob me of my joy? I have a car. I have two hands. Look at this arm. Look at this. I am blessed with the ability to change a tire. I can pull off to the side of the road. I can change. I have enough money to buy another tire. And this is just a simple thing. It can get much, 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 much worse, right? But let's face it, most of us are gone. We're not even close to joy when we get a flat tire or there's a little bit of traffic. The pin's sticking in us. Oh, poor babies. A little bit of traffic. Poor babies. Come on. Let's just grow up. Why are we losing joy for stupid circumstances? As an adult, the baby has a pin in it. It's not going to be joyful. Take the pin's not properly closed and it sticks into the baby's skin. Baby cries. It's not with joy at that moment. Okay, it's a baby. I get it. Take the pin out. Take care of the baby, of course. We're adults. We're not babies anymore. Grow up. The pin's sticking in you. Something didn't work the way you wanted it to. Good. And I'm not talking about, I'm not trying to be flippant about suffering. People suffer amazing things that they don't have control over. But let's bring this to, we're sitting here communicating on electronic devices. We're not probably starving. And if we are, then that's very important. Food, clothing, shelter, security, and free time. Yes, for everybody. And don't torture the animals and don't torture each other. Of course, yes. But now we're getting to those of us that are sitting here working on ourselves, we have the luxury to try and work on self-development, right? The free time, the electronics. Look at this luxury we're living in. This time that we're sharing here. Unbelievable. As adults, the pin sticks on us, the little inconvenience, or even the large inconvenience. Even something really bad happens. It can rob us of our joy or not rob us of our joy. As adults, the more mature, the more response-able we are, the more grown up we are, the less we will let, the greater the negative stimulus, the less we will allow those things to rob us of our joy. Because we're not helping ourselves or anybody else by taking things personally. Tire, flat tire. Something didn't work the way I wanted. Take it personally. My joy is gone. Who did I help? Now I'm snapping at someone. I'm not nice to someone else. I'm not nice to myself. What happened? Did I raise the vibration? Is my life better? Is the life of the people around me better? Is the life of the planet better? No, just went down. In ripples. Worse here, ripples out from me. Just ripples out. Great. Come on. Transcend circumstances. So I guarantee that there is a core of joy, and it's like we're like these calcified, crusts, like the earth, and then like a little bubble or a volcano of joy comes out, and it's like, oh, joy, and then back, and then it like kind of the molten lava gets cold again. It's all like this crusty earth again. It's like come on. Soften up. Process things like we've talked about in past talks, and we'll do more of that. But the irrationality of joy means we're not going to take things personally. We're going to be mature and responsible. We're going to do our work at times. But the reason we're doing work, the reason we're processing trauma, the reason we're bringing ourselves into presence, time, place, and consciousness is to be more joyful, which means to be more compassionate, which means to be kinder, which means to be more loving, or more in a state of love, in a state of joy, in a state of kindness, in a state of compassion, in a state of beauty, in a state of truth, in a state of honesty, in a state of responsibility. Is this not why we're here? If it's not, then we shouldn't be talking. That's why I'm here, and that's why you're here. And if you don't know it, then you need to learn that. And you do know it. Something inside you knows it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, okay, this might be a little edgy. So, really, I don't know, but formation of the brain and stuff like that, I mean, for boys, probably 23, 24, 25. For girls, probably 21, 22, 23. Women and men, young women, young men. I would say younger than 21, probably better not to do this. Just don't do it if you're under 21. And if you're an adult, 21 or older, again, you're mature, you are responsible for yourself. Make the decision as to how much of this you can take, how much of this you want to take, how much of this is positive, how much is, if it's overwhelm, then stop, back off. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of meditation now. And we're going to go into, you need to be in a safe place where you can, and if it gets too intense, then just back off, leave, turn off the sound. People have been watching some of these videos who don't speak, they don't speak English, right? But it doesn't matter, they're still watching it, which means that you and this experience is creating an energetic transference. It's a transmission that's not only about words or about understanding, it's about a sharing and an expression. And a being and a togetherness. So if it gets too intense, just turn off the sound. If that's too intense, turn it off entirely. But we're going to do some stripping. We're going to strip away a few layers, and we're going to find the joy. So let's take 3 deep breaths, please. Take them deep from like way down your belly, just above your groin. Feel like your lower belly and then your chest, but not with strain. Then fill your whole body with air through your nose, and then slower out your mouth. And when you breathe out your mouth, let it be a release of tension, a release of anxiety, a release of thought and emotion. And Now let it be slower out than in. Ready? 1. 2. 3. Let the last of the kind of cares and worries of this moment, even though we're going to bring them back, let them go. Okay. Now, there should be like a certain clarity of space. If we haven't done much meditation, then it might not be. But first, there's going to be a box at our feet. And the box has a word on it. And the box says, it says later. It says later. It's just a box sitting by your feet that says later. It's an open box, cardboard box, whatever you want the box to be. It says later. Now we have this space and we have this box at our feet called later. Now, bring someone to mind that bothers you. You know who that person is. They came to you right away. Bring that person to mind. Bring that person to mind. See that person. Now, I don't want to hear, we don't want to talk about why they bother you, just the feeling and the image. See that person in front of you. Feel the feelings. Don't talk about them in your head. Don't describe what's happening. Just feel it and see the person. Now, we're not taking the person. We're taking the feeling and the thought of that person. And we're going to gently put it in the box called later. Just put it gently in the box called later. That image, that idea. Now, we're not putting the person there because the person's not here. It's just how we feel about them and how we think about them. They bother us. They're difficult for us. We put that feeling and thought of ours about them into the box called later. And we say, thought, feeling, you're going to come back. We're not putting you, we're not killing you. We're not trying to destroy you. We're not fighting with you. We're not describing you. We're not explaining you. We're just putting you in the box called later. And later, you'll come back as is fit. Now take something in the world that's very difficult for you, that hurts you, that bothers you, take that. Take that image, that suffering or that pain or that fear, whatever that is in the world. Feel it, look at it. Don't describe it, please. Don't explain it. Just take it. Let it be. And now very gently, with respect, take the thought and the feeling of that event, circumstance, or whatever it is, and put it in the box called later by your feet. Just put it in there. Gently. And whatever roots and tentacles and explanations it has in your mind and in your body, just gently free yourself of those. Pull them really gently, and put them back in the box. Remember, the box is later. We're not going to fight with these thoughts and feelings and deny them. We're just putting them somewhere that's not now. In this presence, in this moment, in this place, and in this awareness, for now. Pick something a little closer to you. Pick something that's happened in your world the last little while that was very difficult for you. There, that thing right there. Take that. Oh, that's a tough one. Yep, that's a tough one. You feel how that one's struggling a little more to maintain control of you, right? That's a little more personal. Okay. Acknowledge it. Don't fight it. Don't explain it. Don't describe it. Just feel a little bit of it. Look at a little bit in terms of images or thoughts that come to you. Gently. Pull it gently. Don't pull it hard. If you've ever pulled a worm out of the ground, you have to pull it very gently, because if you pull it hard, the worm will break. You have to pull it gently so that it just comes out. pull the tentacles that are deep inside, gently in the box called later. And the reason the box is called later and we're putting it in the box is because we're not trying to say that we're denying or not acknowledging these things. We're just putting them there for now. Is there a smile on your face yet? I can't see, but my eyes are closed. There's a smile on my face. I'm feeling a lot lighter. And now focus on the center of your chest, your solar plexus, your whole torso. I mean, that's where it's at, but start in the center of your chest. It might be actually lower, it might be just below your breastbone, above your belly button, but somewhere in there. I would go for your chest, go for your heart. The center of your chest, not your physical heart, your energetic heart, in the center of your chest. And just look at how much light is there. Now, if there's a specific thought, image, person, or just a general sense of darkness or heaviness that's in that area, let's not describe it or explain it. If we know what it is, that's fine. If it's just a feeling and a heaviness or whatever it is, take it very gently and put it in the box called later. Take it and put it in the box called later. All the roots and tentacles deep in your being, let them just gently flop out of your body, be pulled gently out of your body, gently, and put in the box called later. Later, later, later. Yes, box, we acknowledge you. We acknowledge you thoughts and feelings. We respect you. We don't deny you. We just put you in the box called later because now we experience, we've decided that we're going to live this moment, present now, present here, and present aware. So anything that's left in your head and in your body, feel your head and your body. Feel an egg around you. Call it the aura or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what you call it. But there's an egg, like say, if you were to wave your arms all the way around you, say that space, a foot or a couple feet, a meter around the top of your head, the sides of your body, the front and the back, the bottom. Big egg of energy there. You can let the boundaries of your skin body dissolve into this egg body if you want. If it needs to extend further, that's fine also. But let at least the physical body and this egg be just light and an openness. And to the extent that there's any kind of darkness or thoughts or feelings there, take them and gently take all those thoughts and feelings and darknesses and put them in that box called later. Now. Just breathe, just be. What is it that you feel? You feel open. You feel joy. You feel joy. Joy doesn't need to be that ecstatic exuberance of running in the sunshine or spewing the water of a baby elephant. Joy can be this very quiet, deep pool of it's beautiful. It's peaceful. It's lovely. It's a really sweet place to be. It feels like home. It feels like a place you don't want to leave. And there's no reason for it. Do you see how there's no rational... We've taken the thoughts and the feeling, and as they come up, gently just put them back in the box, put them in the box called later. And my son is coming home now. But it's okay. I need space, Nikki. You can go upstairs. And so we take that thought and that feeling of being interrupted and we put it gently in the box called later. In the box called later. And in the openness of the space, in the time of the present, in the space of the present, we have joy. And we don't want to let it go, nor need we let it go. But we don't hold it by holding it, by clasping it. Do you see how we got this? We didn't get it by adding something. Let's come out of it before we discuss it. Not come out of the joy. If we hold the joy, if the joy stays with us, ever so beautiful, fantastic. But let's come out of the meditative place by bringing the light just to the physical body now. And feel yourself. The energy in the light is the life that animates. Without that, just a pile of water and minerals that will be used by other life forms to create their life because they have the light. But now the light and the energy and the being, the life within the body. Now take that and put it into the heart. Concentrate into the center of the chest, the torso. Being in the body. Feel the connection to the earth, whether we're on the earth or not. I'm a few feet above the earth on the first floor of the house. There's a basement below me, and below that is the earth, but I am connected to that earth. I am that earth. I am embodied. We are here to be in the body. So now we are in the body with this light in our chest, and we can leave this light in our chest, and it can glow, and it can fill our physical bodies. It can fill the egg, but as long as we first and always remain embodied, as long as we live, we remain embodied. Our mission is to work within the body. That's why we're in the body. So open our eyes gently. And what was it that we did? What was that? Did we get the joy by eating something? By finding someone? By calling someone? By looking for something? By ignoring something? We didn't add anything, and we didn't deny anything. We simply made space in our busy minds and our busy bodies and our busy feelings, made space for joy, because that's the underlying truth when we can strip things away. So in our search for joy, search for means looking for. Generally, with the conditioning, we are looking outward for something. We look inward, and the way we look inward is by stripping away that which the outward has made us think is who we are. The thoughts and the feelings. We stripped away thoughts and feelings, and we put them in the box called later. And you can do this. Independence. You don't need someone telling you. Guided meditation is wonderful. But the only wonderful thing about it is, not the only, it's a wonderful thing to experience and to open up possibility. But finally, the only real guide is that stripped away self that you're carrying under the conditioning that we just stripped away and touched. We didn't get that close to it, but we got some of it. And that's just, it's like the vestibule. It's like the little opening of the door. It's the mansion is to be explored. And so we guide and we do this to have experience so that we know that it's possible, to share, which is a wonderful thing, to do things together, to see possibility, but finally the guide is internal. It's not some head or some voice, even your own head or your own voice. It's the absence of those things. It's the internal guide. It's that love. It could be called God. It could be called soul. It could be called spirit. So many words. But we just stripped away a bunch of thoughts and feelings, and what was revealed was this joy. That's your inner joy. I didn't give you that. You didn't give me that. That is what is there. That is your internal source, your internal beauty, your internal joy, compassion, love, kindness. And the list goes on and on. Creativity, truth. So, can't be emphasized too much the requirements of taking time by yourself and doing these things that we're doing together. As an adult, you must take responsibility for yourself, which means you must find your own internal guide, your internal responsibility, ability to respond, your own internal, all of these things. And they are found in stillness and in quiet. They are revealed in surrender. So as always, I can only say thank you for helping us. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for being us. Again, we, meaning all of us, individuated beings, am, which is the singular of to be. There's only one being, and we, plants, dogs, you, me, seemingly you, me, virus, bacteria, plants, animals, people, all these we am. Find joy, expand consciousness, raise the level of earth, live compassion. Living compassion is joyful. The heart of the diamond is compassion, joy, beauty, truth, love, creativity, truth, honesty, sincerity, surrender, unity, union, yoga, oneness. Very important time on planet Earth. The ability to respond is crucial right now. And thank you for being so amazing and for bringing us that much closer to where it is we're all going. There is only love, finally. See you on Wednesday.